that may or may not be visible to humans at least. But you all very well know that words, especially ancient words that have been decoded and then translated, you very well know that there may be several interpretations of that word given the context, right? So, I want you all to hear a clip from the Book of Jubilees, and then I will give you an interpretation of that word given the context. For on the first day he created the heavens which are above, and the earth, and the waters, and all the spirits which served before him, the Malachim of the presence, and the Malachim of sanctification, and the Malachim of the spirit of fire, and the Malachim of the spirit of the winds, and the Malachim of the spirit of the clouds, and the darkness, and of snow, and of hail, and of hoar frost, and the Malachim of the voices, and of the thunder, and of the lightning, and the Malachim of the spirits of cold, and of heat, and of winter, and of spring, and of autumn, and of summer, and of all the spirits of his creatures which are in the heavens and on the earth. He created the abysses and the darkness, eventide and night, and the light, dawn and day, which he has prepared in the knowledge of his heart. Like I've said before, the reality is these angelic beings who occupy the spirit realm, we try to give it scientific names, but we don't really understand it. We just know how to interact with it. So we do know that it exists. Now keep in mind, I want you to keep track of this. The earth and the waters were created on the first day. No firmament yet, just the earth and waters. Look what else. There's all these spirit beings that serve him, the angels. That's what Malachim are, a rank of angel. Now, you have spirits that govern fire, wind, clouds, darkness, snow, hail, frost, thunder, lightning, cold, heat, the seasons. He created the abysses, the night and day, in preparation for what he was about to put in place. And thereupon he saw his works, and praised him, and lauded before him on account of all his works. For 7 great works did he create on the first day. So thus far we have earth, which has a certain form of water with no atmosphere. And on the second day he created the firmament in the midst of the waters. And the waters were divided on that day. Half of them went up above, and half of them went down below the firmament that was in the midst over the face of the whole earth. And this was the only work Yahweh created on the second day. So the only thing God did on this day was create the firmament. Listen, a division between water, meaning it is the dividing layer between liquid water and water gas. We have liquid water on the surface, and then it suddenly is a gas. Do you see? So now you have an earth covered in water, but now there is an atmosphere in preparation for what is to come next. Think of the firmament more as a force, because the firmament was already placed in the midst of the water before they were divided. I know some of you are not going to like me for this, and you don't have to believe me, but the firmament is actually space. It is the expanse, the atmosphere for the planet, and the space between the ground and the heavens. Heaven has its own firmament. And on the third day he commanded the waters to pass from off the face of the whole earth into one place, and the dry land appeared. And the waters did so as he commanded them, and they retired from off the face of the earth into one place outside of this firmament, and the dry land appeared. So the water didn't recede off the dry land, it retired off the face. It evaporated and turned into gas, down to a certain level, sea level, exposing parts of the earth. And on that day he created for them all the seas according to their separate gathering places, and all the rivers, and the gatherings of the waters in the mountains, and on all the earth, and all the lakes, and all the dew of the earth, and the seed which is sown, and all sprouting things, and fruit-bearing trees, and trees of the wood, and the garden of Eden, in Eden and all. These 4 great works Yahweh created on the 3rd day. Remember, folks, living organisms are made from earth and water. You see how he prepared one thing after the next? Also, the earth came first. There was no sun, no moon, no stars yet. Think about that. The earth is older than the sun and stars. Think about that really hard for a moment. That alone changes a lot of things, doesn't it? That's what I mean when I say the true nature of things. Although this is from the Book of Jubilees, mind you. And on the 4th day he created the sun and the moon and the stars, and set them in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon all the earth, and to rule over the day and the night, and divide the light from the darkness. I'm trying to explain this the best way I can. Now, some believe, when you study angelology or demonology, some believe that only angelic beings have the ability to pass back and forth through the barrier that separates the firmaments of heaven and earth. And the rockets are the given technology that allows men to pass through like them. But only with permission can they do so. It doesn't really matter anyway, because once you leave the planet, you start to die. That's why it talks about colonizing the moon and Mars. I don't know what they're talking about. The science itself says that it can't be done. So why are they trying to pretend that it can? Who or what is deceiving them? Yes, you can go to the moon. You can go to space and to Mars. You can be gods. Meanwhile, he doesn't mention that you're going to die. Think about it. You are an angel that is no longer allowed to pass back and forth from earth to heaven. So as an angel, you decide to build a spacecraft to defy that law. You guys know the story of Adam and Eve, right? Good, because the Book of Jubilees adds a few tidbits into that story that would make you scratch your head. And after the completion of the 7 years, this is referring to the 7 years Adam and Eve spent in the Garden of Eden. Notice how everything is on timing. And after the completion of the 7 years which he had completed there, 7 years exactly, and in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, the serpent came and approached the woman. And the serpent said to the woman, Has Yahweh commanded you, saying, You shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And stop. There it is right there. That is the lure. Do you see? The lure is in the question he asked her. At that moment, he was trying to act like Yahweh. He was trying to mimic him. Do you see? That's why the question was so powerful to her. By the way, all the animals can talk at this point. Hold on, I'll get to that. And she said to it, Of all the fruit of the trees of the garden Yahweh has said to us, Eat, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden Yahweh has said to us, You shall not eat thereof, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said to the woman, You shall not surely die, for Yahweh does know that on the day you shall eat thereof, your eyes will be opened, and you will be as gods, and you will know good and evil. And we all know what happens after that, right? Now, here is something that is interesting that you may not know. It reads, And on that day in which Adam went forth from the garden, he offered a sweet Savior, an offering, frankincense, galbanum, and stacked, and spices in the morning with the rising of the sun from the day when he covered his shame. And on that day was closed the mouth of all beasts, and of cattle, and of birds, and of whatever walks, and whatever moves, so that they could no longer speak. For they had all spoken with one another, one lip, and with one tongue. Now, what kind of bizarre world is this? This story is stranger than you thought, right? And he sent out of the Garden of Eden all flesh that was in the Garden of Eden. And all flesh was scattered according to its kinds, and according to its types unto the places which had been created for them. Here is something else. And on the new month of the 4th month, Adam and his wife went forth from the Garden of Eden, and they dwelt in the land of Elda, in the land of their creation. And Adam called the name of his wife Eve. And they had no son till the first Jubilee. And after this he knew her. Now he tilled the land, as he'd been instructed in the Garden of Eden. You know, you don't really hear that story change across different texts. It's just that when you get more information, it expands upon the story, and so you kind of have to rearrange in your mind what you think was happening. Then the story becomes less encrypted. It starts to make more sense. I want to tell you, this book, it gets interesting. It really does. And we will be revisiting it to talk about some things. But until then, folks, you'll have to stay tuned. We've got more to come. Everyone, be sure to visit woodwardentertainment.com and the Woodward Entertainment store for merchandise. If you would like to support the show, this is the best.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
No, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
No, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Captain gives orders on the ship.
The captain of the ship is giving orders.